Give yourselves some snaps. It is Sunday, September the 26th on a Sunday night. I am Regie Cabico. I am coming to you live from my hotel room in Times Square. No, I am not performing in the Tony Awards, but I'm doing something better. I am celebrating the collection of this marvelous, inspiring collection of poetry called I Don't Understand, edited by yours truly, Regie Cabico. Shout out to Day 8, the publisher and producer of this year-long initiative to bring asynchronous poetry instruction for high school students, as well as to poets of all ages. What you're going to hear is some original work by our phenomenal youth poets who participated in Day 8's first ever writing camp. And you're also going to hear some poetry from Dwayne B., who is one of our featured poets that I got to interview. Sasha Sinclair of Studio 3440, who did the design for the book, as well as editing the videos. She's also did a lecture on Alma Thomas. So, and Amy Melrose, please mute your microphone. All right. All right, excellent. Terrific. That said, it gives me great pleasure, before I introduce our phenomenal young poets, I want to introduce to you the chair for Day 8, the one and only Gregory Lewis, who is the author of the latest collection of poetry. I believe it's Riffs and Improvisation, which is, it's a svelte book of poems that pack a wallop. And I'm going to turn it over to you before I introduce our phenomenal young poets. So without any further ado, let's give it up for Gregory Lewis.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. It's great to be here. It's always great to be at any event that involves the phenomenal Regie Cabico. You'll be entertained, even if you don't care about poetry. You're going to enjoy this. So, and I'm sure nobody who is here does not enjoy poetry. So in any case, as Regie said, I am the board chair of Day 8, and I've been associated with the program now since, I don't even remember exactly how long. 5 years ago, Rob Bettman, our executive director, and I, he's hiding behind the camera, founded the DC Poet Project, which was one of our first big initiatives. Oh, there he is. And so we were starting to try to bring the ability to publish poetry to parts of the city, particularly across the river, that we knew was filled with great poets or very good poets, but had no real access to the mechanism of publication that those of us who had, had degrees or had been certain places or who had connections did have. So we were trying to broaden not only the audience, but also the number of people who could actually write. And since then, we've done many more poetry initiatives going into schools, educational things. Reggie's been a great leader in that part of our programs. And so I know some of you have benefited from this. And this reading tonight, as well as the other things I've mentioned, represent Day 8's commitment to not only just publishing poetry, but to broaden the audience and the people who are producing it. So I'm very proud to be here to support that, and I'm very proud of the people here who are going to be participating. So I will say thanks to that.
All right, thank you so much, Gregory Lewis, and check out the book, Riffs and Improvisations. That said, for a week in July, we have some of the most incredible young students who participated in our first ever youth writing camp. I was really honored to really get to work with these young poets, journalists. And so you're going to hear their work that's in the book. We're going to hear from Lilou Culhane, then Jasmine Kwok, and then Emily Lippock. So I will also say that this is a poetry reading, and there is a chat. So it is all right to, in the chat, shout out some positivities. So again, I'm doing it right now. If you've got chat access, I always go in poets. If there's a line that you hear that a poet says that you like, it's all right to type that in. So feel free to do that. And without any further ado, please, let's give a warm Day 8 welcome for Lilou Culhane.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Lilou. I wrote this poem's called Nocturnal. I wrote it after I got home from a night run, and my mom and I sort of got into a fight, and it made me think about a lot of different things, but I hope it'll be a little bit self-explanatory, and I hope you guys like it. Okay. Nocturnal. I don't understand that fear of the dark. When the sun leaves behind this new trail, the unknown should not be feared. It should not be conquered. I'm not nocturnal, and I'm angry. I don't understand why we can't be, why we choose not to try. We could see beauty and difference in the unsung vision of the dark. My mom gets anxious when I go for runs past 9. She's scared. She has that fear. I know I should feel terror when I see those figures in the gloom. I should feel that fear, but that fear is right in front of me, outlined by the dark. I'm shown those figures. How can I be afraid of something that isn't ever concealed, that doesn't hide from me? It knows me only inside. The night strips everything bare, everything except what lies within, everything but the graceful motions. This clarity comes through open eyes. I know all the stories, the way darkness works hand in hand with pain. They all say the same things, be careful, be careful. I have my stories of danger too, but I keep them locked away. I refuse to taint the possibilities that are found beneath the moon. Where is that danger when I feel protected? Because only I push myself into the depths without brightness. Maybe it's that hyper-awareness, the constant adrenaline rush, or maybe I'm just ready. I feel free running at nightfall, the mystery that is so clear to me. I know to expect chaos, so I offer my own. Those inky shadows, they blur together and paint a scene that tells more truth than I will ever know. In the blackness, I feel the unseen colors. I let them run over my skin. This freedom in accepting the unknown, the freedom to choose not to be afraid. I don't understand. Isn't that what we all search for? Those moments when the fear is gone. I want to be ready. I don't understand how, in the dark, people refuse to truly see. Open your eyes here. In the blackness, there is the most life. I don't understand why. This mood of the planet is closed off, so feared, so choked with the people who exploit it. And I understand now why I feel the need to prove that I can be just as free in the darkness, that I am as ready now as I am in the light.
Hey everyone, that was Lilou Culhane, everyone. That was phenomenal. Snap it up, Lilou. Next up, please help me welcome to the Zoom stage the one and only Jasmine Kwok. Jasmine.
Hello, I hope everyone can hear me well. I'll be reading like 2 poems today. So one fits in with the book theme, I Don't Understand. And I wrote this like during the Day 8 camp, and I was really able to like expand on my comfort zone with this one. So it's called Happiness's Delicacy. I don't understand the fragility of hope. The sting of a single word, like idiot or worthless, flings itself to shatter the tiny glass box I've encased myself in. Starry eyes fade into black holes, and the whole of me is ruptured into 2. I'm surrounded by what feels like nothing. I don't understand the fragility of joy. It's as if the reason some people walk is to step all over you and smother your pride into the dirt, flirting with the manipulative voices that cloud the light you work so hard to find. I don't understand the fragility of relationships. Once upon a time, your friends were your blanket of dreams, a shield from the storm, and it seemed like you'll make it to the city with the vast promises and blinking neon signs, only for it to fade out of sight and out of mind. It seems friends come and go with the inevitable passage of time, and you're left wondering, were they ever really mine? I don't understand the fragility of myself. 16 years of strengthening my heart and soul, yet I'm still young and naive. My heart is easily changed, and my soul is easily contained in that little dungeon I call self-doubt. Yet, and I don't understand this, I'm still standing, with my head held high and landing with my eyes gazing up at the sapphire sky. My feet are absorbing the impact, and in fact, I think I'm ready to fly. Broken I may be, but I will continue to try, because I never understood how to give up. Yeah, that's my first one. And so my second one is one I wrote a couple years ago, actually. This is like when my grandmother passed away, and so I talked about that in this poem. It's called Blue Hour. Shades will shift, victim to flux. Colors are fleeting as they blend in with the indigo night. Nature's song has lulled to a whisper, and the moon is calling your name. You know that you don't have much time. You have reached your blue hour. A vast sky of hopeful promise awaits to be decorated with your constellations. Your soul floats towards the whimsical shades of twilight, free from the restraints of a body, free from the restraints of reality. Every hope, every dream has collected into an oasis that you now enter. A young girl stares up at the darkening sky. She wonders what cosmic magic is made of. Her eyes are filled with starry tears as they search desperately for you. You smile fondly down at her pretty face. Your spirit rests among the galaxies while your body is one with the soil. You remain hidden during the dawn, but when the night paints the sky with its mysterious facade, it's your time to be the light for someone who may just need it. And yeah, that's the second one. Thank you.
Everyone, that was Jasmine Kwok. And I didn't write poetry until after college, so I'm just really amazed at the craft that these young poets have. Jasmine, thank you. Concluding our youth poets, please help me welcome Emily Lippock.
Hi, I'm Emily. So I'm going to begin with a poem which is inspired by a painting by Morris Lewis, and then I'll just follow up with a short haiku, so as not to terribly demand too much from your attention. Okay, so the first one is called The Rage of a Heart. Rage is everywhere, in the ugly in-between brown with the splatters of red and green mix. Rage is in the precise way the oranges and yellows and blues are smeared on the page, causing color conflicts. Bright deafening hues, each roaring too loud to hear as their voices fuse. Rage is in the heart, the big black heart that overwhelms the paint, an angry kind of art, darkening against the bright, loud colors that fight each other to be set apart. It's all too much, the tumultuous heart and the in-between brown and the rage's touch. Such rage shown in strokes, deep passionate hits of bristle against paper. Ruined brushes won't escape her. Rage is where the big heart sits, covering what could be the beauty of the page, or possibly just more rage, just more bristle fits. Rage is in not knowing the unknown. Rage is in the lights and the darks and the bare naked white, still somehow untouched by this fight and instead left in sight. Rage is in the heart, too blackened to be bleached, a rage incurable, a poison too addicting to be cleansed, a disease spread too fast to ever be reached. Rage is in black and white and in between brown, a rage that through bright colors transcends, imprints on a page that will never mend. The canvas and creator forever condemned, rages everywhere. Okay, that was the first one. And then, so during the summer I would bike quite a lot, and the only thing that really illuminated the streets was the moon, along with like an occasional street light. And I always found it really calming, so I wrote a really small haiku about it. So it just goes, biking in deep night, divots on thighs in moonlight, my petals take flight. Okay, and that's all. Thank you very much.
Emily Lippock, everyone. Petals take flight. And to me, that's what poetry is. While we might be stuck at home, in the poem, we can take flight. I want to give a shout out to wonderful artists in the house. Amy Melrose in the house, to Dr. Casey Moore in the house, Wilma Console in the Zoom. Thank you all. And also a shout out once again to HumanitiesDC for supporting this project. It gives me great pleasure to introduce someone who is in, I think are you in Baltimore? You are in Baltimore. Dwayne B, aka Dwayne Lawson-Brown, is many, many things. I would say most recently a Helen Hayes nominated performer and playwright for his show Mambo to Gumbo, co-host of the longest running open mic series in Washington, D.C. Dwayne is, I believe, our 4th video in our instructional series. We did 9 videos. These videos were created in the beginning of the year, January, and they ended this month. So, Dwayne B. I think we had our interview in February, and I think that was around the George Floyd, around the whole trial and the verdict, right? So what was great about doing this video is that we could take what was happening and really running with where we were in the moment. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Dwayne. So please, if you wouldn't mind sharing the poem that you have in the book that we use as our model poem. And if you have something else, we would love that. I'm going to follow up with my response poem.
Peace, peace, peace. I am just making sure that you can hear me clearly. This is absolute joy. Word to the youth poets who shared. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your bravery and your honesty in your writing. I greatly appreciate that as someone who loves reading and hearing new voices sharing out in the community. So, as Regie mentioned, we had our interview right around the Derek Chauvin trial, right when the verdict hit. I think we had our interview the following day or something like that. And so I wrote a poem in response because there was a lot of energy of celebration, and in one hand that is very justified, but in another hand, there were a lot of feelings still left over. And so I wrote this piece. Is called Quantifying a Win, or It's Better Than the Usual, I guess. Guilty is not a father's hug. Won't undo a family's grieving. The children littered on asphalt, their warmth watering the rock. Every victory isn't joyous. A cause for celebration, this is not. How broken a clock that we celebrate it being on time. Do lungs inflate guilty? Pray on a stained glass altar. Can guilty strum the strings, sing the song of justice? Do we win ever in our death? Is a win still a win if there is no breath? And that is the first poem. You know, complex feelings. And so poetry is a wonderful, wonderful tool for navigating and feeling those complex feelings. And so this poem is a chance to actually process some of those feelings. So it is sort of a guided meditation called On Expansion. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Let it fill you. Exhale. Inhale. Feel yourself. Feel yourself. When was the last time you let your blood bubble in your toes? Felt what the follicles feel at the end? You are the toes, which are part of the body. You are the hair, which is part of the head. You're becoming more of yourself. Exhale and expand. You're filling the room and everything in it. You're absorbing the audience. You are the audience. Absorb the artist. You are the artist. You're now witnessing yourself, being yourself, and you are happy. Expand. You're the room, which is part of the building. You are the building. You're the ceiling fan, the static clinging to the dust that remains. You're the birimbau, the hora twang in cyclical motion. Since you are the building, all of these things are within you. All of these things are you. Expand. You're the bike parked on the sidewalk, the children throwing frisbees poorly on a baseball field. You're the block, the horns blaring in the background, the dealing in guilt. You're the criminal intention and hunger. You are the hope. Expand. You're the city. Expand. You're the state. Expand. You're the East Coast fast-paced pressure. Inhale and expand. You're the Southern draw embodied sweet grits and back alley abortions. Expand. You're the country, split personalitied in debt and disillusioned. Exhale and expand. You're the world, overheated and misunderstood. Everything is a part of you. You are a part of everything. You are everything. You contain the world, which contains the country, which contains the East Coast, which contains the state and the city and the block and the building and the dealing and the artist and the audience and yourself. You contain the world within yourself. Open your eyes, inhale, and expand. Thank you very much for having me. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I celebrate the voices of these youth who are going to take over the world. Thank you to Day 8, and thank you, DC Humanities.
Dwayne B., it looks like Good Morning America where you are. That sun is hitting you. Seriously, this is your headshot. Like, you look so majestic with Baltimore Penn Station behind you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I am going to read my response poem to Dwayne B's poem, and it's called What Are We Gonna Do? Under the knee, there is a neck. Under the neck, there is a father, a guardian, a protector, a parent, surrounded by laws like broken squares in the air. Under what's broken, there is a cry for justice. Under the cry, there is a riot. Lost in that scuffle of tear gas and plastic bullets is a verdict. Under that verdict is a win or a loss. The rioters breathe out the toxicity. Nothing is won. Are we one? Are we? Under the are we is us. So, thank you, Dwayne. Thank you for giving me the courage to really write on heavy topics. It's really important that we could list and write our triggers and our glimmers in a safe space, that we could rant out safely the things that we don't understand. The more we put it on the paper, the easier it is to dig into the things that are holding us back. And I've had the honor of creating this safe space. What I would like to do right now is introduce a woman whose artistry is so vital to this project. Sasha Sinclair, Studio 3440 DC is in the house. Not only did Sasha give the lecture on Alma Thomas, which opened our video, looking at color and looking at the DC Color School. Sasha also did the incredible cover for the book, as well as the layout and the design, and also edited the videos. And so, without any further ado, Sasha, are you there? Because I would love to sort of talk to you, because it has been a and you have wrapped up all of the videos. So can we please snap it up for Sasha Sinclair, y'all? Sasha.
Hey everybody, what is going on? It's great to see all these beautiful poets in the Zoom box. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. I am so proud and happy to be part of this project. When Red brought this to me, I think was almost a year ago, it feels like. I was like, oh sure, I'll create 9 videos and you know, edit all this stuff and sure, I'll prepare 2 lectures about art and poetry too. So I was happy to do it. And anytime I get to talk about art or create art or just be in fellowship with other artists, it is such joy and a pleasure. And I have threatened Regie to do an outtake reel of all the edits from our videos because it's, you know, there's so many fun moments. But what I'm really impressed with is just how much amazing talent that Day 8 has tapped into in this video series. I invite you to go to the Capturing Fire page. I'll put the link in the chat in a few moments, but go there. I had created a playlist of all 9 videos, and they're really great discussions, not just like, here's how to write a poem. It's really about discussing people's influences and really diving deep into you know, the lines of poetry, the tech, you know, all these different things. I learned so much just being able to see it from a point of view of just listening in. And I'm so proud that this now will be a body of work that will be available to students in this city. And this is why I do what I do. I love art. I love being part of the community of artists in Washington, D.C. We have so many rich treasures here, and this project really does highlight them. So I invite you to, you know, I can't wait to get my hands on the hard copy book, Regie. I didn't know you had a hard copy already. That's amazing. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing the book because we did that. We pulled it together after everybody had their poems and sent in, and I did the artwork on the cover too. I don't know if you said that as well, but yeah, that was a process. But that's my little kind of, you know, raindrops / you know, footprints abstract thing because there was so many things going on. But I just want to say thank you for sharing your artistry. Thank you for sharing your talent. Keep going, especially the youth poets. Like I'm with Dwayne B. I love hearing new voices. I love hearing new perspectives. And this is so exciting to see how this is influencing people, these young poets to just, you know, take the ball and keep running. So thank you for letting me be a part of this journey and lifting up your voices. So have a great night and keep on reading. I'm looking for more poetry now.
Oh, Sasha, don't go.
I'll be here.
Okay. No, I just wanted to ask you just a few off-the-cuff questions.
Of course.
Because you really got to see the process.
Oh, yes.
And I just wanted to know, after editing all of the 9 videos, what were some of the moments that were indelible for you? Or some of the highlights?
Well, you know,
I know it's hard to really single it out, and it's probably a blur, but I just wanted to hear what is something that's just stayed with you.
Of course. So what really stayed with me was the fact that when when you ask certain poets about their influence and what is influencing their work, it always goes back to these critical moments in poets' lives where like no one started out being a poet. A lot of people never, you know, thought poetry was even a career path, for example, for the more advanced, mature poets you spoke to. But something happened, like, you know, Kim B, when you watch Kim B. Miller's presentation, she says that, you know, she literally heard a voice, you know, that she interpreted as a voice from God saying, you know, this is what you need to do. Or people who have had a specific, very formative thing in their life happen, good or bad, that drove them, or they use poetry to work through it or to move through it or to in celebration of it. So that was one thing I found very telling, is how people moved, you know, came to poetry. It wasn't just something that they said, oh yeah, one day I want to be a poet, but no, how people actually developed into or moved into this path that eventually led to poetry.
Yeah, so for myself, I had to really look at a poet's work and figure out, well, by listening to this work or reading this work of this poem, what could I conjure up? It was a challenge, and I just put it out there. And sometimes if you only have 5 minutes to write a poem, bam, like it comes out. And I was surprised with what happened. So I'm going to read some of my poems that are in this collection. And thank you to Robert Bettman as well. So thank you, Robert, for all of your support and vision. And it was not easy to do this in the most difficult year ever. This poem that I'm going to read is called She, and it's inspired by REIL's poem, Tragic. She is the one recording his insults on her iPhone while holding her son in the basement. She is the one who will hold this recording to the judge as proof she conceived the boy with a violent bolt of a man. She will not die a dishwater death. She remembers explosions and storms. She remembers it wasn't always like this. There was romance and ice skating and wineries. She held herself. She holds all she has done, has held herself. She is finding her way to heal herself and others. She is strong, my sister. Marlena Chertock had a poem called Ode to My Physical Therapist. And I really felt it was important during the pandemic to really celebrate the things that are holding us up. And this is my poem. It is an ode. It's also an epistolary poem, which means it's in a letter form. It's also an elegy, and you'll hear why. And I am not good with plants at all, but I live on top of a Trader Joe's, and so I just kept buying plants. And I bought an anthurium plant, and if you don't know what the plant looks like, it's got these green leaves, and then it will sprout a red, beautiful leaf. And so it's called Dear Anthurium. Dear Anthurium, I should have thrown you out a year ago, but you flowered a single red flame on the solstice. I'd like to believe you were attuned to the earth's pandemonium. A year ago, I thought I might have to leave you in the lobby, but I seemed to pull through by the grace of teachers who believe in the birthing of poems in a pandemic. A year ago, I walked miles to get a free lunch from Haleo. Thank you, Chef Andres. I know, little Anthurium, that you probably sat by the window, wondering where I had gone as I was working all the virtual Zoom hours, teaching day and night to pay the rent. This morning, I pruned the jasmine plants, pulled a deflated balloon, a child's sandal from the patio, and saw your withered stems and yellowing leaves. Had I paid more attention to you, you might still be alive instead of lying in the mom's organic compost bin. A single stick of selenite my sister gave me rests in your spot on the windowsill. The bamboo stick stands guard of the succulents, and the budless lilies have leaves that have multiplied marvelously. Thank you, humble houseplants I bought after moving into the hipster condo. Bless you for teaching me to love soil and sun. It's an honor to have witnessed your tiny flicker in my darkest time. And gosh, so many gems. I'm going to read one more poem, and we're going to hear from one of our other poets in the book. I have the pleasure of interviewing Kim Roberts, who edited the anthology by Potomac Shore, an anthology of DC poets going back into like the 1700s. And so what's beautiful is that all the poems in the book are in public domain. Kim read a poem by Esther Popple Shaw called flag salute. And Esther Pople Shaw's poem is a collage poem. It contains several lines, some of it from the Pledge of Allegiance. And the exercise was to create a collage poem. And so I wrote this. It's called For Those Who Have Gone, an elegy for 2020. It's a collage poem. And I took lines from Fauz Amin Faiz, Jayanta Mahaparata, Nguyen Chen, and Beidao. And it's for those who have gone. I think a body wearing jewelry of blossoms just passed away. No wine is left in the tavern of the earth. No need to show surprise at the doozy acts of winds. The world pauses, a jungle night, leaving the world with nothing but paper, rope, and shadow. So, my elegy for those who have gone. And now it gives me great pleasure to, first of all, I have been amazed by REIL's poetry. REIL, that's REIL. I did not know that REIL was a part of the Prince George's youth poetry slam team. It makes sense because REIL's work is real. It is raw. It is in your face. REIL tells the truth, says it like it is. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, REIL. Would love for you to kick Tragic. And if you've got another poem, and congratulations to your book. Day 8 is putting your book out. So we are all cheering for you. And REIL, I'm going to say go in. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the poetic stylings of REIL.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm logging in late. But first of all, I did want to touch bases on being a part of the first Maryland team ever to represent in Brave New Voices competition. We went to New York. I was a 16-year-old poet that just thought and knew I knew everything until I got to New York. And I tell you, when I tell you I met a lot of raw dope artists. I mean, from New Mexico to New York to Chicago to everywhere. So that was the start of, I can say, really my journey and really understanding the poetry world and seeing how it works and how the power of words really. But I am going to kick off Tragic. Tragic is a poem that I wrote. I don't know if many of you seen Malibu's Most Wanted, but I remember B-Rad, he was in the car. He was like, traffic, looking for my chapstick. So that was the kind of the start of me writing this poem, but the backstory of this poem is me really seeing how the world is changing beyond generations and seeing from me, I'm only 32, so seeing from how the way where I came up to now and generations and everything. So I just wanted to address a couple things off of some things that I saw. So here's Tragic. Tragic, she looking for her chapstick. The world is overlooking and they wonder how it happened. But when she got her hands on the hips and the whole room's laughing. Tragic. I call it drastic. They call it cute. She smacks her chapstick like the lipstick that her mommy do. Split image but misconception. If we accepted that the baby stepping and the footsteps already planted ain't the first sight of damage. And it's tragic. See, some say money be the root of all evil, but we speak no truth to the seeds that's planted in the little people. We need to teach our sons to be sons and shine bright, and our daughters to be moons to only have the essence to step in their crescent when the time's right. We need to get our minds right, align our stars so they shine bright. See, most blame society or technology without even acknowledging the lane that it started in. Like how our sons need fathers and our daughters need better role models, and as a whole, we need better modeling. We need to hold our heads high and strut every inch of these God-given minds, all starting with time. Yeah, the world is cold, but see, home is warm, and that is the first insight that we instill. That is the first insight that we steal. See, if women teach our queens to be queens and kings raise our kings to be kings, then the cycle can revolve to do the exact same thing. But unfortunately, some things are tragic.
Yeah, snap it up, real. Awesome. You got another poem for us?
Sure, absolutely. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So this poem here, this is actually my favorite poem to do. No, actually, you guys mind if I read a new poem?
All right, go for the new poem, real. Go in.
You might. I don't know if you can see me or not, but I have to go to my documents. But
I also do want to say that Real was one of our educator mentors over at Writing Camp. Also, a big shout out to Jeffrey E. Banks, big homie, who was also a phenomenal mentor poet as well.
Absolutely. All right, you guys ready?
Yes, go in.
Okay, this poem, they do call me REIL. It's REIL, stands for Reborn Early in Life, and I feel like at a young age, you know, by the grace of God, that I was able to go through obstacles and a lot of hurdles basically in my life for me to really get to the point of where I am now with my maturity and me growing as a woman. So one of the things that I really had issues with was a lot of us women, we face daddy issues. So, you know, this poem is called Real Man. I hope it's okay with you guys. But it says, I want to know what a real man looks like. I want to know what a real man feels like. And before I go into my next sentence, please note I come with no ill will or bad intentions. So just be prepared to listen. A lot I've been missing. See, sometimes go beyond just kissing. Emotionally fitting starts with distance. See, daddy, for instance, been beyond the instant feeling, and I'm feeling like daddy don't love me like a real man's supposed to love a real woman. See, I was a little girl destined for something, but I came up with nothing. See, I know how to be a woman, but I don't know what love is. I'm searching, browsing in the deepest places that got me hurting because the second man of all mans don't know my worth, and I can't figure out how you give birth and your conscience don't have a conscience to see that your daughter's hurt. See, I love you so much that I sink. But now I'm saying that the only way to stay afloat is to know what a real man look like. See, I want to know what a real man feels like. Like when he hugs me, it feels like I'm safe and in a space and in a place that I know what he looks like because it's all that I'll run to. See, I see you run through women after women, and here lies no judgments, but here lies no judge. But what I meant is that you're overruled. And I underruled the measures that you didn't measure up to, but what I looked up to, see, daddy, you had me clearly, but sadly, my image of daddy figure only got me imagining that daddy can't figure out what the figure of daddy is. But there's no way I'd extend that illusion to my kids. Now the reality is, see, I want to know what a real man looks like. I want to know what he feels like. Like, I want to understand what feels right. Like, even if I doubted it, there's no doubt about it. See, I want my father. I want him to bother. Like, even when I say not to, I want you to console me and understand that everything ain't about you. I want you to know that I'm your first queen and that I got you, but I need you to get me. See, sadly, I know what a real man is based off everything you ain't. And I learned everything I can because you can't. Well, actually, I guess factually you can, but you choose not to. And it's my choice. My choice not to get angry, frustrated, no disrespectful, no argue, but make the decision for us both to understand that everything ain't about you. See, ironic that them blue skies visualize of your baby girls that kept your days afloat. Well, them same days rocked my boat. But I still love you so deep that I sink. See, daddy, it is you who had me, made me, but you failed to save me. And it hurts me to know that throughout the years of misbehaving, the rebellion, you never figured out that you was my safe haven. But daddy, as much as I hold you to the standards that you can't fulfill, I must face my own guilt. See, I can't be the little girl I wanted to be. I can create that imagery around that little girl that I wanted you to see. See, Daddy, basically, I'm breaking free because I owe it to me to know what a real man feels and looks like. And even though my picture don't look right, everything is perfect upon my insight. See, Daddy, I love you, but now and only now I deserve to live life. Whew. Hello?
Let's give it up for REIL, y'all. Wow, you have just been reeled. The collection is called I Don't Understand. I just got in the chat, Dr. Casey Moore at Kips Public Charter School says, can REIL perform for my students? I've said yes. I think REIL would, like, I'm speaking for you, REIL. Absolutely.
I don't mean to cut you off, Reggie, but I wanted to say, I really wanted to say hello to Emily, Jasmine, Lilou. Hey guys, it's really good to see you guys on board. I've been thinking about you guys. Good to see you guys. I just want to say hello to all of you guys. But they just came back from the workshop that we had, and they were awesome students. So I want to say hello to you guys.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you. We've got about maybe 5 minutes or so. If anyone has any questions for me, for the readers, you are more than welcome to type in your question.
If no one has any questions, I would love to steal the 5 minutes. Well, just 1 minute, just 1 minute. I just want to tell you guys, no matter what anyone tells you, no matter what you think, if your days are blue, purple, like sunshine or anything, stick with your craft. Always believe in yourself. Keep pushing, keep doing it. Motivate each other, motivate yourselves, and keep doing it. Keep pushing. Keep pushing and perfecting your craft. Learn. Instill yourself with as much knowledge as you can. Learn about things that outside of your craft that's pertaining to your craft. Just keep pushing yourself, guys. And I just want you guys to know that I'm a work in process. I'm a work in progress. I started the same age as you guys, and I'm still pushing forward and trying to make a way with myself. But we all have a way with words, and just use your words and just know that you touch people and you help a lot of people. And I just want to encourage you guys to keep pushing.
Right. Thank you, REIL. I'm seeing we've got some comments in the chat. Shout out, Dr. Casey Moore says, we all have a way with words. That is some truth. Gregory Lewis says, I'm very impressed with the massive talent here. The student poets are amazing and their teachers and mentors are the best. Dr. Casey Moore was asking about the favorite lines from the poems you read. I think given the time, I don't know if we can get to every poet saying what their favorite line is, but I'm going to turn it over to the youth. Emily, Jasmine, and Lilou, maybe you could just find your favorite line that you like, and we will end with that. Great to bring it back to our young poets. And maybe when you kick the line, briefly, maybe you could also just give a little, just a few epiphanies that you had with the summer writing workshop. So does anyone want to dive in first? I know we started with Lilou last time. Emily, do you want to give a shout out to a line of yours that you like?
One of our own poems or one of somebody else's?
I think from your own line, from your own poem.
I like the canvassing creator forever condemned. I just like the way it comes after the two things that rhyme. It's a little bit overwhelming. And then something, well, I mean, all of these poems that we share, they were from workshops that a lot of which you actually gave us to kind of work on. So I worked on a lot of things that I normally do very traditional like lining poetry, and I have pretty usual stanzas, and I think that I strayed a lot from what I would normally do working with you and working with everybody else. And I think that it was just kind of an epiphany that I could do that and feel somewhat successful while I was doing it, which was exciting for me. It was really nice.
Beautiful. Emily, thank you so much. I'm going to do Jasmine and then Lilou. Jasmine, what is your favorite line from your poem? And tell me a little bit about how the writing process was for you at Day 8 Writing Camp.
Yeah, so my favorite line is from Blue Hour. Your soul floats towards the whimsical shades of twilight, free from the restraints of a body, free from the restraints of reality. And this kind of actually like relates to my epiphany with the writing camp, because I was really able to like expand past, you know, my comfort zone, because poetry hasn't really been something that I would write to like speak verbally, because that's something I struggle with, is like public presentations and stuff. I've always like written poems like for myself in my notes app, but I was really like able to learn more about cadence and how to present it and like how to put emotion through voice as well as words, which I feel like they come hand in hand.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. I'm really happy to hear that, because it's one thing to write the poem, and it's one thing when you read it out loud, it becomes this new creature, because we look at the poem as just something on paper, but when you read it out loud, you get to really edit from your ear. And so thank you. And last but not least, Lilou.
I really like it's just kind of the last couple of lines from my poem, and I understand why I feel the need to prove that I can be just as free in the darkness that I am as ready now as I am in the light. And, you know, I like it because I kind of always feel like I'm not really ready for things, that maybe I'm just kind of helpless. And, you know, writing this poem, I always feel very unhelpless when I'm like out for runs or like doing things by myself. And I feel like being independent is like my form of freedom. So I really like those last couple lines. And I really liked Day 8. The camp was really interesting for me because I had never done like any sort of writing, like intensive something like that. And it was really fun for me because I love writing. I love writing out like my feelings, my opinions, etc. And I thought that just hearing, I mean, especially like REIL's poems was just like so cool and so awesome. It was such like, I felt like inspired by everyone who was teaching, and it was really awesome. And it was a new thing for me. So I like that aspect.
Lilou, thank you so much. Let's knock it up for our youth poets, Emily Lippock, Jasmine Kwok, and Lilou Culhane. Shout out to REIL. Shout out to Dwayne B. Shout out to Gregory Lewis. Shout out to Sasha Sinclair. I wanted to end with a poem by Venus Thrash. The last recording was with Dr. Jennifer James, and she did a short lecture on Phyllis Wheatley, who is the first African-American poet to be published, the second woman to be published in America. She started to write poems by the time she was 14 years old. While still being enslaved. She was 8 years old when she was enslaved, and people did not believe that a slave could write poetry. So as we look at poetry and we look at America and we're looking at racial inequality, we got to go back to Phyllis Wheatley's power as an African-American woman. And we're also looking to Venus Thrash, who is a queer African-American poet from DC, who we lost this year. And so I would like to end this celebration with the words of Venus Thrash. Venus Thrash was a featured poet at Split This Rock, an activist. We performed together at the Pride Mayor's gala at Lincoln Theater. And Venus, you will be missed. Your words will live on. This poem that I'm going to read is called Birding While Black. I know the pigeon's bloodshot eye, smoky feathers, how it roosts along the building's edges, waddles when it walks. I know the difference between bluebirds' black wingtips and blue jay's checkered tail. I know the thrasher's frantic folly when I see it, the cardinal's scarlet overcoat, the raven's velvety down, how the flash and flutter of wings distract from view, how the marvel of flight frees the mind from its cages, how the birdsong conjures in ancient tune, calling back the oceans over which we've crossed, and believing legend over which some of us flew. That was Birding While Black by Venus Thrash. The collection is called I Don't Understand. Thank you again. Have a wonderful, wonderful end of September, a wonderful year. May you write poems. Poems are all around you. You just need to catch it. So may the muse be with you. I am Regie Cabico. Thank you, Day 8. Thank you, Robert Bettman. And we will see you very, very soon. Be well.